And we're back. We are back doing awesome registration stuff in Laravel. Now, when I started part 2, this is now part 3. When I started part 2, I forgot to mention... No, I did mention that. I downloaded a library called MaleDebug, and I never actually installed it. I never installed it. I just waited for it to install through Composer and forgot about it. So I want to set that up quickly because it's kind of useful, and you'll find it useful, I'm sure. So we've gone and installed this. Excuse me, we've gone and installed this, but we need to add the service provider because it registers some stuff. So let's go config app service providers. Yay! Let's put that one in there. And vendor publish, sure, why not? Yay! And MaleDriver now becomes debug. We can put that in our local config because we're not going to do it through tests. Let's see, MaleDriverDebug. Okay, now what does this actually do? What does this do? What does this do? What does this do? Log out, log in, forgotten my password, send it to me. Send reset link. No! That didn't work. Do I have to put this in testing? Is that no, that's not right. I don't have to put that in testing. MaleDriver debug. Config. Resources. I'm lost. Why isn't this going here? Vendor Laravel Flare MaleDebug source config MaleDebug to config MaleDebug. Config MaleDebug. There we go. That's fine. That stuff's all fine. What you on about? MaleDriver. Take that config parameter or SMTP. Go to env. MaleDriver debug. Fine. Do I have to do Composer dub autoload? Okay. Work. No. No, why are you like this? Okay, so I can't actually get it to work. I don't know what's going on. However, maybe you can get it to work, and it's pretty useful. At least it looks very useful from this GIF animation. So the library you want is github.com/laravelflare/male-debug. There is a link in chat. Because I can post links, because I know I'm not a spammer, but maybe you are, so I don't let you post links. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is useless to me now. We were in the process of writing tests for our registration page, and we had a test for checking required fields. We had another test for checking email formats. And we had another test for checking you could actually register. And if we run these with PHP unit, we'll see they all pass. It's doing far more assertions than I actually think count as assertions, but that's because it, I assume, counts all of these things as assertions as well. So I don't really know. Anyway, it's working quite nicely, but I want to customize some things. One thing that often bugs me is that the tables in Laravel are all plurals, and I prefer them to be singular. It's such a tiny difference, such a tiny problem, but that's me. I prefer model classes, class names like user and product, and those are the only two examples I can ever think of. I prefer those to be singular, and likewise I prefer the table names to match those exactly. So to change those table names, we're changing two things. We're changing the auth stuff, and we're changing the migrations table separately. If we go to config database, right at the bottom, there's a config parameter to change this table name to singular migration. Then I think, if I remember correctly, in auth, there are things to do it here as well. Maybe? Maybe. So the table here is password reset, or just, I mean, I called it tokens, or whatever, token. I don't know. You can call it whatever you want. That's fine. However, the table name for users is done in two places. It's done in the migration that we need to change. In fact, we need to change both of these migrations. So create user, and I'll change that to user. I will rename this migration to token table. I also need to rename this class from users table to user table because I am nothing if not pedantic. This class name changes to tokens, token, and these are both token. Let me just go back to config because I think I made it plural in there. I shouldn't have. Oh, no, okay, fine. It's fine. It's fine. So this is really pedantic. I will reiterate, but I like it, so whatever. Let's delete all of these tables. Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. And let's run the tests. We have a failure. We have a failure. Now I think I know what this is caused by. No such table users. The reason for that, I think, is because we have this user model. Where is it? We have this user model. And it's defaulting a name for this. But if we said protected table is user, and then we try the test again, it doesn't. It doesn't. What is going on? What's the error? So much scrolling. So much scrolling. What's going on here? No such table users. Select count aggregate from users where email is that. So I don't know. I'm going to go back to the docs and check there. Because I think there will be a solution there. Eloquent. I've gone blind. Eloquent ORM getting started. Wow. Okay. Model conventions. Defining a table property gives you a custom table name. What happens if I run these migrations just normally? Migrate. User table, token table. User, token, migration. Okay, so it generates these tables fine, but it's not using the override for some reason. Protected table equals user. Defaults passwords user. Could it be that? No. No, it's not that. Okay. Default authentication guard and password reset options for your application. You may change these defaults. Perfect start for most applications. Provider users. Database Eloquent, so that's fine. That's what. Oh, I see. I see why changing this wasn't a good idea. Because it's referring to this, which uses Eloquent driver and this class. The reset stuff's done. Provider again is users. For some reason, this is not working. So why is it not working? This is the rub. Protected table and the table string. And flat extends model. So this extends authenticatable. Authenticatable. Wow. It's kind of difficult to say. User extends. Wait, what? User extends authenticatable. Auth user. Extends model. And then it has a bunch of this other nonsense. So in a roundabout way, this extends model, which means protected table user should actually work. Don't know what's up with that. Sigh. Oh, I do know what's up with that. No, I was wrong. I was so wrong. Can I register normally? Can I just go to register and put details in normally? Name, assertchris, email, a dumb password, register, error. That's really interesting. The way that it does this authentication the way that it does this authentication seems to not take into account the table name, unless I'm really messing this up. Model, table, authenticatable. I don't need to change any of those things. Where is it doing this count? That's what I need to find out. Connection run query, database presence verifier, validator, auth controller register. So app HTTP controllers auth controller register, validator. Okay, there we go. Ah, there we go. Unique in users. Great. That's it. It was just a validation rule. Sorted out. Okay, so a few places then. A few places you need to change this. For the migration table, to get it to be singular migration, you have to go into config, database, and scroll all the way down to the bottom. Almost all the way down to the bottom. Change this to singular, or to whatever table name you want. For password resets, you go into auth, and you change this here. And you also have to change the migration, which we did, from password underscore reset to token. For users, you change the migration and you add the table property to the user model. So now you can say user find, user get and where, and all those sorts of normal eloquent query stuff, query things. However, there is also validation in this auth controller that gets created automatically. And the validation says it's a required field, it must be an email address, maximum of 255 characters, and unique in the user table. Unfortunately, this is users by default, so you have to change it here as well. This does not conform to the name of the model that it's being applied to, which is okay. It's okay if you know about it, but you have to change it in a few places to get it to work. And all that we have done is change these three table names to singular. That's all that we have done in like the last 10 minutes of code. Why is this important? Why is it important that you know how to do this? All of the auth stuff is generated by scaffolding, which means it's very magical and it's really fast to get the stuff up and running. But if you have to use Laravel with a legacy database, you have to know where to change that stuff. And you can, if you go through the steps that we went through now and changed everything, you can change it. You just got to know where. So we've changed these things, that's fine. We know where we can change routes. We can go into the routing code that we saw earlier. Well, not that one. The routing code that we saw earlier. Router. Here we go. And basically copy these out as a template. In fact, let's do that because it sounds simple. Routes. Now instead of route auth, we can do this, and we probably just want to change all of these to route, and there we go. We should still be able to run our tests and they should still work. Yay, they still work because we're basically copying and pasting code. Okay, but now we can change these to being slightly different routes. So we can have when you get the login page, show that stuff. So that's, now this is more explicit, and we can really tinker with this. We can change the location of these controllers. We can tinker with this. The only ones that I generally change, apart from where the controllers are and what these method names are this reset link and email and reset. Because sometimes I do OAuth integration stuff, and then this kind of conflicts sometimes. Anyway, that's more explicit. So we could change these if we wanted. I'm not really going to do that now, because it still works in the tests, still pass, so I'm happy with that. What else can we do in the 5 minutes we have left? We could potentially do some tests for login. Okay, lightning quick introduction to this. In Laravel 5.1 and up, I think, although 5.2 possibly, you have the database folder, and in that you have a factories folder, and there you have a model factory. And here you define some things. So here you can say, and here's a very good example of this, we're defining a factory for the user model, when I create a new instance of this, give me a test, we could say, if we were to put this into a test, so let me just collapse this and go to the tests and auth test, we could create a fake user and then log in with it. It lets me log in. Now, I need to go back to the docs to refresh my memory of how this actually works, how you create instances of this. Model factories, there we go. How do you make an instance of this? User raw, no, that's not what I want. There we go, okay. So we do this. An instance of a user is the factory function of the class that we're trying to create, make. We could pass, if we go back to our factory and we say, okay, we want to have different types of factories for this class, so give them special names, then we could in here say, make it of the special name. We could do that. I'm not going to do that because I only want one specific type of user. We could, as a second parameter or a third parameter, also give a number of users to make, and then this would be a number of users. I'm not going to do that. I just need one user because I want to test login. So, given this user is in the database, this visit /login c element name, email, and I'm going to do c element password, type user name in the name field, type user password, the password field, wow, laborious, press login c logged in. Wow, let's see if that works. I am super curious. No, it doesn't. Nothing matched the filter. CSS query provided for what? Filter name. Name is email and password. Oh, that's right. Name is name. Duh. Still doesn't work. What's going on? It logs in with email address. Of course it does. Form name email. Oh, it's down here. Okay. Failed to see that the page matches that. Now, here's a problem. I don't want to set up Xdebug for this project. I don't actually have it installed on the version that I'm running at the moment, but I want to debug this. How do I do that? How do I see what text is actually returned here? Oh, it's returned right above here. Okay, fine. Version that I'm running at the moment, but I want to debug this. How do I do that? How do I see what text is actually returned here? Oh, it's returned right above here. Okay, fine. Fine. These credentials do not match our records. Maybe it is because I have to do user save. Maybe. These credentials do not match our records. That's pretty interesting. Okay, let me have a look here. So this is the encrypted stuff. This is the encrypted stuff. What if I give a password here? Give a password here, because that's what's going to be on the end of the encryption. Close all of these nonsense. My grammar is so bad today. But then I give this password in here. So this is going to be plain text entry into a form and then submission, and then the bcrypt of this compared to the bcrypt of the actual password. That's not actually what I want to do. That's not actually what I want to do. In this model factory, I want to say, what is this class name? I forget what this facade, Laravel facade's name is. encryption. Encryption, encrypt. Encrypt that. Okay. You see what I'm trying to do? Let me see if this works. It totally doesn't work. Totally doesn't work. Also because I'm dumb. It's probably also why it doesn't work. No! Come on! What are you doing? What are you doing? Email address looks like a generated thing. Password. Name password. No value in here. Obviously. Why would there be a value in there? You see, what I'm trying to do is say, okay, encrypt this value according to the key that you've got for the testing application. And so this will be the value that's stored in the database when you run that test. Send this plain text password through the form in the password field, and when it is encrypted and compared to the password stored in the database, then they should match. However, they don't. And this is perplexing. So this is, the error for this is still doesn't, the credentials don't match. Is that still the error here? Don't match our records. What if I take this migration out? Take this out. Just rename this something else. Why not? And run these tests. I have the initial test email created, but I don't, the initial user created, but I don't have this one created. So let's run it again. Fail. What do I have in the database? I have another one. This doesn't look encrypted according to the security of the site, which is very interesting. Oh, because it's not using encrypt. Oh, I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. It's hashing. It's not encrypting. Okay, fine. Okay. Okay. Fine. Hash make. Fine. This should look a bit more normal. Okay, this does look a little bit more normal. Oh, I feel dumb. So let's take this off the end. So it's got the testing key, and let's uncomment the database migrations trait and run it again, and it passes. Hallelujah, it passes. Okay, let's review this test. We have a fake user creator, and it creates every user with a preset password. And this is important because we want to test this password for login. So that's the same password we pass in here. However, when this is created, it's hashed and stored in the database. And the authentication compares a hash of the plain text password to what's in the database. So we create the user, we save it in the database, and then we try and log in with those users' credentials. And we should be able to log in, and we should see the login message. And the tests are passing. Woo-hoo. Now, it's been a whirlwind tour of Laravel's registration features. However, that's all I have time for tonight, so I'm going to leave you with that, and hopefully you are a little bit more aware of what Laravel's doing and feel empowered to do this stuff yourself. And if not, ask me questions on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at assertchris, or if you'd like, you can follow me on Twitch, and you'll actually get email notifications when I go live. So you can ask me questions in chat, and you can see me talk about code or gaming or other things. And that's great. Thank you for being here and for participating in chat. It's been actually quite a busy evening. And I appreciate that. Thank you for coding and being a developer, because you're actually making the world a better place. I strongly believe, especially if you're writing unit tests or integration tests or any kind of test for your code. With that, I'm going to leave you. So I will see you next time. Goodbye.